It's Patrick from Half Wheel, and in my hand is the Vector Maxtech, a fairly new lighter from Vector, and one of a growing segment in the cigar lighter accessory category that really doesn't have a name yet, but for now we're just going to call the Single Flame Plus. And the reason for that is that a lot of manufacturers have started to figure out that there's a space between the traditional single flame and double flame to wedge a little bit bigger single flame in, but that doesn't sacrifice necessarily the precision, but offers a little bit more firepower that you would normally find with a double flame. So again, this is the Maxtech from Vector. It's $35 MSRP. It's available in 6 colors: yellow, red, blue, black, a gunmetal satin, and then this one, which is called rose gold. Now, it's pocket friendly, 3.5 inches tall, about 7/8 of an inch at its widest, and 3/4 of an inch wide at its narrowest. It's a fairly typical lighter in terms of the basic mechanics of it. You flip the lid up like that, pull down on the ignition slider, and you've got a nice, powerful single jet torch, but one that will give you a little bit more than your traditional single flame without necessarily sacrificing precision. So let's turn on the lights really quick and give you a look at what this actually offers. And as we fire this up, you can see a nice sort of wide base lighter, but one that's still fairly precise. And we'll get into the mechanics of that in just a second, especially if you read more of the review. But nice, solid flame. This is a little more than halfway turned up in terms of the flame adjuster. But again, single flame, nice and pointed, but still a lot of firepower. So the reason that this works is this jet burner down here in the center of the lighter. And as you can see, it's flat, it's fairly wide, and there is a hole in the middle. And it's actually a 2-piece design, and I'll get more into that in the text version of this review. But what that does is it sort of pushes the flame out a little bit right at the base of the mechanism, and then it naturally comes back together to give you just a little bit wider flame and still giving you that precision of a traditional single flame lighter. In the time that I've had a chance to use it, it's actually worked very well. It's made very quick work of bigger, thicker cigars with heavier tobaccos in them, but yet still works very well with a Lancero or a Corona. Doesn't scorch them, doesn't do any sort of damage. It's a really nice combination. It's something we've seen a lot more of in recent probably the last 18 months or so, if we're being honest. As far as features, it doesn't really offer a lot, and that may be sort of a plus and sort of a minus in terms of what you're looking for out of a lighter. It has a nice design to it, metal sides. The body is basically always going to be black, so no matter which of the 6 colors you pick from, you're always going to have the same body. It has a nice big fuel window right there, as you can see. It's clear, not tinted, not the biggest thing in the world, but again, one of those things you notice. As far as the flame adjuster, it is the sort of old school traditional model, which means you are going to need a flathead screwdriver or some sort of other implement to turn it. But that said, it also has a ton of range on it, and probably one of the best ranges I've seen in a lighter in quite some time, especially having reviewed a lighter that didn't have such great range on it not that long ago. Now, you'll notice there's no punch cutter. There's really not a lot of bells and whistles to this. It is a pretty basic lighter, but that said, it offers a nice midpoint. And the reason I bring that up is because there's been a few other lighters in that segment, namely the XIKAR Tactical 1, which I don't want to say is necessarily the gold standard of the single flame plus lighter, but you see a little bit more design, a little bit more tactile sensation, a little bit different window design. It has this lid on it that offers a place for you to rest your cigar while you're smoking it. It has a big, huge flame adjustment wheel. So again, a few more features. But again, let's turn the lights down really quick and show you the two. So again, the XIKAR in my right hand, the Vector Maxtech in my left. And again, I haven't really calibrated the flames, but pretty similar in terms of size. Again, XIKAR is probably a little bit cranked up at the moment, and that's just how I had it when I was pulling it out to do a review. But again, a few more bells and whistles. That said, this retails for close to $100. So if you want that, that's something to consider. Now, on the other end of the spectrum is a fairly new lighter from Jetline, and this is called the Jetmaster. This sells for closer to about $15. It's a much more base level model. But again, not a single action ignition. It's a lot lighter. It's a lot smaller. Huge clear plastic fuel tank. It's available in a couple different colors. And again, offers a few different things that flip out ignition. So as we're getting into sort of the single plus flame segment of the cigar lighter market, these might be three of the more typical options. And again, sort of definitely a base model, a high end, and a very nice mid-level model here in the Vector Maxtech. Now, in the time I've used it, I've spent about 6 weeks with it. Very solid lighter. As long as you just treat it well, give it a nice chance to ignite, you're not going to have a lot of problems with it. I've definitely enjoyed using it, and if you're looking for something in that mid-range, that $30-ish, $40-ish segment of the market, it's a very solid option. Now, the one thing I will tell you is that it does create a fair amount of competition, and you're probably going to be thinking about which one of these three or some of the other options on the market would you want. Again, do you go base model, do you go a little bit nicer, or do you go all the way to the high end? So again, lots to think about, very solid option, and a lighter I'm very impressed with from Vector. So again, the Vector Maxtech, more is waiting for you in the text version of this review. Thanks so much for checking this review out, and thanks for checking out halfwheel.com.